Hey everyone, I'm Drew.
And I'm Delco.
Welcome to the D&D show. If you've been following along or if you're just joining us, one of the things we've been talking about is compassion and how it kind of seems to be missing these days, and the way we treat people, deal with people. And some of the things we've talked about in the last few videos are the things that kind of creep into our lives that prevent us from having that compassion on others. Pride, selfishness. We had a guest on last week, Jeff Urban. Appreciate him coming on and sharing the message that he had with us. He talked about depression and how that can affect you negatively, and how it can just be really toxic if it's not dealt with. And so we appreciate him coming on. He'll be back on again, because I think we just kind of touched on the tip of that iceberg on that subject. So we'll keep going with that. But for today, we're going to talk about identity and how we just kind of seem to think as a society that we've got to kind of look a certain way, act a certain way, have certain things before we're cool, or before we feel like we have accomplished something or we've arrived, or so with that, anything you want to say?
I just want to throw out there thank you again to Jeff. I know that there's something, topic of depression is it's not always easy to talk about, but we do appreciate you getting the message out there that it is okay to seek help and to get help. And like Drew said, we're going to be talking about identity tonight, and hopefully we can give you something that will maybe encourage you and to give you some hope.
Yeah, so I was driving the other day listening to the radio, and the DJ said something about how he's noticed, it was a Christian radio station, Smile FM, for those of you that are local, are familiar with the station. But he said something about how he's noticed that a large number of people are actually fasting from social media, taking a break from it. And I think that's great. I think it's awesome. I think we said early on in the beginning that it just seems like there's a lot of drama on Facebook. And he said that the result of them taking the break, whether it's a day or a few days or a week, has been that they've actually felt more free when they've been off of it. And I just remember when I got off of it the first time, I took a break for about 30 days. And when I got back on, I didn't really get anything out of it. And I just find myself scrolling through all the nonsense. There's good stuff out there, there are some legitimate things on Facebook, but it just seems like you've got to kind of sift through a lot of the junk to find it. It seems like there's really three different kind of people that you find. You got the ones that put on the facade like they've got everything together. You've got the ones that are just kind of looking for attention and throwing their drama out there on Facebook, just so they can gain the sympathy of whatever. And then you've got the ones that are just kind of trolling around. I think we've touched on that before too, just kind of looking for the next, topic of gossip or whatever. So it made sense. And with that, I read a verse a while back, and it's in Isaiah chapter 26, verse 12, and it says, "Lord, you will grant us peace. All we have accomplished is really from you." And then it's funny because I read that verse, and then the other day my fiance and I were out running around, and this dude rolled up next to us. It was Sunday morning, and he was playing a song by Lecrae, and it's called Identity. And I couldn't find the actual video, but I found one on YouTube where this guy did a project for his school, put together a video, and it was on YouTube, so I downloaded it, and we'll play it at the end of this clip. But basically it talked about all those things. I'm not the shoes I wear, I'm not the car I drive, I'm not, talks about the girls and their makeup and how they feel like they got to have this certain guy before they, feel like they've really accomplished anything. And you just see that a lot in society today. Like, we've set this bar, and we've just kind of pounded this whole me thing into everybody's heads through advertisements and commercials and social media and everything else. So I don't know what your thoughts are on any of that.
I was just gonna say, just like you said about the pounded the me. Think about like how people have like selfies and stuff like that. Like it's all about like what I can make out for myself. Like we want to make excuses and stuff. Like when it's people that actually need help. But we only think about ourselves. We only identify with ourselves. We only want to make it like, you know, I'm this and I'm that, when we really are not. Like a lot of people are depressed. Like Jeff was talking about, a lot of people are going through stuff, but we put on this identity that, you know, like we are better than what we really are. Like you were saying, like with the media, it is mostly it's junk. And like you said about, you know, like you took yourself away for a month and you felt free. It's almost like the media and stuff like that is like basically trapping us. It's like a jail almost for some people. Like they just cannot put it down. It's like it's always something that they gotta see. Even like when I was thinking back in the day when we used to watch ESPN, we used to watch basketball on ESPN when I was in college, and we would watch it like in the morning, and they would play the same thing in the afternoon, and it would be like, oh, we literally would watch the same thing that we watched in the morning as if we didn't watch it, you know, like we would watch it in the afternoon as if we didn't watch it in the morning. So it was like, what are we doing? We watching the same thing. So it's the same with the media. Like you can scroll through Instagram, you can scroll through Facebook, you'll see the same thing in the morning, and then you'll get back to the timeline of where you were, and then you keep looking at it as if you didn't see it before. So basically, it's like, for me, I think it's a prison that basically that society is stuck with. I mean, you see people at restaurants and stuff like that. You can't even sit down and have family time because you look all around. The next time, I encourage everyone that is listening to me and to Drew to when you go out to eat or whatever you do, just look around and see how many people are on their social medias. If you're just walking into the store, if you're sitting down having dinner, I would encourage you to just look around to see, do you identify with these people? Is this something that you have a problem with? Like Drew said, like most of the time people are just trolling just to see what's going on and see the next big buzz, you know, and we find ourselves like stuck in the same state that we say, oh, I wouldn't do this or I wouldn't do that. But I mean, we will, and you will, if you don't get it under control. Like maybe we do as a society need to take a fast from like the media and stuff like that, because it really, either it's going to help you or it can damage you. It's either one or the other. The same with either you're gonna follow God or you're not gonna follow Him. It's only two choices that you have, and I think that's a good thing to touch on. You know, like with the shoes, like people identify themselves with, oh, this is what I wear, so this is who I am. Like, and they want to make this image of themselves to make it where they feel that, you know, like it makes me feel puffed up because I don't do this or I don't do that, or I'm wearing this or I look like that. Like, I mean, like for the most part, I mean, those people are probably the most depressed people. You know what I mean? Like, so that want to be the ones that are, you know, like puffed up and want to be the ones that have this image or this identity that is not really even who they are. So
Yeah, and I think it kind of, in a way, for some, it's even going to sort of breed a sense of jealousy or whatever, because it's like, oh, well, look what they got.
Yeah.
Or I deserve that. You know, we've become such an entitled society. We want something for nothing, or we want what they got because we're not happy with what we got. And I think that's why this verse was so important, is our peace isn't going to come from what we do or what we have. It's only going to come from one place, and that's from God. And anything we do, as it says here, Lord, you will grant us peace. You will grant us peace. I can't gain that peace by myself. There's nothing I can do to get that peace. So basically everything I have is from you. And I think we just need to remember that. Another quote, I heard something about Henry David Thoreau, and he was in prison for something, and I want to go back and do a little research on this guy. But while he was in prison, somebody asked him, what are you doing on the inside? And he asked the question, what are you doing on the outside? And it was basically about, it was a quote I'd seen about kind of changing your world around you. And it just really hit home. I mean, we get so focused on ourselves. And this question was like, well, you're in jail. What are you doing? And he's going, what are you doing on the outside? Because you're free to do whatever you want. So I come across this quote too. And it says, as a single footstep will not make a path on the earth, so a single thought will not make a pathway in the mind. To make a deep physical path, we walk again and again. To make a deep mental path, we must think over and over the kind of thoughts we wish to dominate our lives. And a few videos back, we did touched on our focus, and what we focus on draws us in. And when we think those thoughts, you gotta reshape the way you think. It's not gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna be any kind of quick fix. We gotta do it again and again and again. Like the quote says, to make a deep physical path, we walk again and again. To make a deep mental path, we must think over and over. There's a passage, I think it's in Corinthians, about taking every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. So we just need to change the way we think. We need to quit thinking about ourselves, start putting others first, and go from there. So.
And I think that it was deep with what you just said about the guy when he asked him, like, how are you free, basically, on the outside? Like, I think I had a conversation with my mom. We were talking about, like, how, like, some people that are in either prison or in jail are freer than people that are actually outside of those walls. And that's something that's really deep, because we think that because we are free that we can do whatever we want to do, but some people, like, mentally are freer locked up than people that are actually walking around that can just do what they please to do. So I thought that was really deep that you brought that point up. And we do have to be careful of what we do, because by beholding we become changed. So what we're putting in our brains and we're putting in our minds with the social media and stuff like that, and what we're watching and what we're listening to, it will become us. Like, no matter what we think, it will become us. Just like doing a diet. Like, when you change your diet for at least 30 days, you can actually do it. But like the initial process and initial steps to do it is extremely hard. Like, because we become addicted to what we're doing, just like with what you were saying about the media and stuff like that. When you took the time to actually get off of it, so you got off of it, then you went back to it, and it was like, man, like, this is junk. Just like me and my boss today, we hadn't been eating a lot of sugar, and I had a little sugar crave, so I went to the store and got some little peach rings or whatnot. And I know this is off the subject, but they were good. But it was the whole, like, when we ate it, it was like, man, like, this is so much sugar, like, you can actually taste it. But like, if, like, for something that you haven't eaten in a while, it's just like, man, like, it's so much sugar in this. But you wouldn't think about it if you were, it was just something every day. Oh, I eat this and I grab this or do that. The same with the meat. Like, you don't, oh no, I saw that before. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it just starts, like, even the stuff that supposed to be, like, basically sensitive to our minds becomes normal. Yep. So the question is, what are you identifying with? What are you allowing to come into your heart and to come into your mind and to become who you are? What are you allowing to do that? And I think that was really, really powerful about the path that we take. What path are you taking? What are you doing to change your identity for the good, to help someone else, to help someone that is struggling with depression, as Jeff expressed, or with a different perspective? Because everything that we think is not really, it could be that we could be all wrong. It could just be something that we need a different perspective, like a different, like, view on it. Like, what is your identity? What do you identify with?
Appreciate that. And I appreciate you. And I'm good with this one. If I've got that video we're going to play at the end of this for you. So we're just kind of getting started on this one too. There's so much more to this, along with the depression and everything else. So we will see you in the next video, unless you got anything else to add.
No, I'm good.
All right. We'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
like, ooh, yes. A couple for an insecure dude, check. But she won't feel me and they won't like me if I ain't in them J's or them brand new Nikes. Let's dig deep from inside my psyche. When it's all said and done, even I don't like me. He live in the gym and his hair stay faded. Late model car, so they think he made it. He's Christian, he gave his life, but he still ain't satisfied in the Savior Christ. Still finds his identity in looks and cars. If he only knew that he ain't have to look so hard. If he looked in God, it may seem odd, but he be so satisfied he can leave it all. Now, I'm not the shoes I wear, I'm not the clothes I buy, I'm not the house I live in, I'm not the car I drive, no, I'm not the job I work. You can't define my word, but nothing on God's green earth. My identity is found in Christ. It's found in Christ.
Hey, how do I gauge success? Why do I say I'm blessed? Huh? Is it the car that I drive, or the place that I rest, or the way that I dress now? It's the cause of my pride, the stage and the set, on my face and the press now. It's the applause that dies when the praise is less. If my face is depressed, then it's cause my value and works and the volume of the work I produce in the booth. It's a prize and a curse if defined by the perks when the truth is through, it's through. Man, I'm gonna feel like I don't wanna live no more. Cause they don't like me like they did in 04. So I swallow my pride, empowered by God, I'm complete in Him. He's got peace, God's priest I'm in. In His presence, weak His strength. Meet His kin, weak His brethren. Read this list, me forgiven, He's dismissed. Guilt in my sin and I find my worth cause I'm Jesus' friend.
I'm not the shoes I wear, I'm not the clothes I buy, I'm not the house I live in, I'm not the car I drive, no, I'm not the job I work. You can't define my word, but nothing on God's green earth. My identity is found in Christ. It's found in Christ. Hair done, toes, nails. Is that her? Well, it's hard to tell. Cause she's so caked up in all that makeup. It's like she's trying to make up for what she ain't, but she's a saint, but so confused. Cause she's been rejected by all these dudes that tell her on a skeleton she's a 2. But that ain't true if she only knew. In Christ she is loved, she's secure and accepted. Never be rejected by God who's elected her. Her beauty is a godliness, and she ain't gotta front it cause it's obvious. Identity is found in the God we trust. Any other identity will self-destruct. Yeah, our identity is found in the God we trust. Any other identity will self-destruct. I'm not the shoes I wear, I'm not the clothes I buy, I'm not the house I live in, I'm not the car I drive, no, I'm not the job I work. You can't define my word, but nothing on God's green earth. My identity is found in Christ. It's found in Christ.